right here. So it's the moment of truth. You have come up here with me. Let's see if we can catch some electromagnetic fields.
From the NBC studios in Rockefeller Center, Doppler 4000 uses a high-resolution beam that can actually reach out and track changing weather conditions.
Here's what we have for you right now.
Doppler 4000 is awesome. It can tell us exactly where that storm is right now when we're on the air.
Doppler 4000 shows
Covering New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. Doppler 4000 is always on.
Hailstones the size of
Always
grapes.
watching the weather.
As you go now, there's so much space the heat moves you. Terracotta hole, backyard barbecue and eucalyptus smell is fine on the flow slide. It's fast food, snow light, red roof, my silence, comic interruption. Charlie, there's someone even a fake old state of world events. Clouds that keeps you on the pound, blanking on the mutiny, bang, bang, on dream of that, trying to bang a
Prometheus, sculptor of man, far-seer and foreseer, stealer of fire, teacher of the arts and sciences. You saw mankind groveling in the mud and filth like animals, their spirit broken, and you could not bear to see it. You mustered your clever will, your transgressive, creative will, and stole fire from shining Zeus. Enlightener, patron of mankind, you lifted us from the mud and taught us the arts of civilization and high culture. You showed us what it is to live freely and nobly again. You opened our eyes. You gave us the power of gods.
Number one, first of all, I said the shuffle is so fast, it confuses you. Now, what would you do when I did the shuffle? Most people forget what they're doing for a minute. It confuses them for a second. All I need is fractions of a second. Or you either look down or you confused. Now, what would you do if you was a fighter?
You did what?
I did all these shuffles.
Well, you just telling me.
Why are you getting on guard?
Well, listen, I think you're going to do the shuffle.
People and entire communities say they are being tormented by a strange, incessant humming sound. But is this notorious hum coming from outside the house or inside the head? They're hearing it in Rochester, New York. They're hearing it in Bristol, England. And in Connecticut, Steve Colhayes is even hearing it in his bedroom.
Alaskan native Nick Begich proposes a different scenario in this new book.
The things that we found in other Air Force documents, one in particular was a document put together in '82. The document was called Low Intensity Conflict in Modern Technology, with a foreword by none other than Newt Gingrich. One section spoke about using radio frequency radiation transmitters for disrupting human thinking, for basically debilitating troops invisibly by being able to bombard them with radio frequency that was tuned to just the right frequency, in just the right waveform, so as to totally disrupt their mental process and basically debilitate those troops.
A mysterious sound heard through parts of Fort Greene, Brooklyn has been driving some people, we are told, crazy.
Yeah, it's maddening, it's unsettling, and it's also just this mystery because nobody seems to know what is causing this strange humming sound. CBS 2's Kevin Rincon gives us a listen.
Guys, what is going on?
Strange sounds are being heard around the world.
In Sweden, this sure sounds like a trumpet. In Michigan, another trumpet-like sound. In British Columbia, Canada, Dr. Glenn McPherson says he heard a strange humming sound in his home. At first, he thought it was an appliance.
Ultimately, I cut the power to the entire house, and the sound got louder.
Then he discovered he was not alone.
This is in fact a worldwide phenomenon, and I'm calling it the worldwide hum.
Check out his Hum Map Data project. To date, some 17,000 civilians and scientists from around the world who call themselves hummers have reached out to him, saying they heard the same thing. McPherson thinks the mysterious hum could be caused by low-frequency sound waves that sound like this.
In the early 1900s, ships needed radar to avoid collisions in the fog. Then, as World War II approached, it was the Army Signal Corps that developed radar as a means of defense.
In fact, the U.S. Army Signal Corps coined the acronym RADAR, Radio Detection and Ranging. In 1934, they conducted experiments on behalf of the United States Navy because the Navy was concerned, again, back about maritime navigation.
By wartime, these experimental radars could detect aircraft too, as was the case on December 7th, 1941.
They spotted a flight of planes 136 nautical miles north of Oahu. Of course, it's the Japanese invasion fleet for Pearl Harbor.
Many countries experimented with radar during this time, and it took off.
Radar was a boon for air traffic controllers. It also was later developed for radio astronomy. Traffic cops now use it later on to check with speeders.
But it was detecting weather where arguably it proved most useful. So after the war, some of the radars were donated to the Weather Bureau. Now there are 159 weather radars strategically placed throughout the U.S. and its territories, and they've been in use ever since. And they've improved.
About 10 to 15 years ago, there was new technology that the Doppler radar has adapted called dual polarization.
This means we went from only looking horizontally through the atmosphere to looking horizontally and vertically. This change has been a huge step forward in the world of meteorology. For San Antonio, we utilized two radars, one near Brackenville and this one in New Braunfels. We wanted a closer look, so after a 90-foot climb up some pretty steep steps, we make it inside the radome, which protects the radar itself from the elements. It looks kind of like a soccer ball.
Right now we're inside the radome, and if the radar were in use, it would be spinning around. It's on the other side of this dish where waves emit and return near the speed of light.
During calm air, during calm weather, it's going much slower, but then during very violent weather, like tornadoes possibly, it's really spinning fast, and it's making cuts in the air very quickly, as fast as it physically can.
It's a big piece of machinery, and if a human were to stand in the way of the emitting waves, which is not advised, you'd feel your body starting to heat up like a microwave.
And if a human were to stand in the way of the emitting waves, which is not advised, you'd feel your body starting to heat up like a microwave.
The radar tilts so it's never aimed towards the ground or us, but instead through varying parts of thunderstorms. At the end of the day, it's all of these things that make radar invaluable. It helps you plan your day, it helps us forecast the weather, and if you ever want to know what the bats are up to, it helps with that too. For KSAT Explains, I'm Justin Horn.
You know how to fight 6 men. We can teach you how to engage 600. You know how to disappear. We can teach you to become truly invisible.
Invisible? Found ourselves trapped on Front Street with fires coming at us. We had to make a decision to jump in the water. And at that time we did when the flames was too hot to stay in the car. It was like an explosion going off everywhere, like a fire goddess just like throwing fireballs all over the place.
Charlie McGee is Stephen King's fire starter.
Машаллах! Я не знаю, что это такое. Аллаху Акбар! Пусть кто-нибудь объяснит, если не ангелы, что это такое?
The lightning was right there, and that's what happened after the lightning.
I knew it. I knew it. Are you listening to this? It's amazing. What? What? Damn, this is powerful.
What is it and how does it work? The WSR-88D Weather Surveillance Radar by meteorologist Stacy Haynes and meteorologist Eric Teller. The WSR-88D, Doppler radar for short, invented in 1988. 160 sites here and abroad. Alaska, Hawaii, Guam, and Puerto Rico all have weather radar sites to keep you safe when severe weather hits. Here's the coverage area for those radars, most likely covering up your neighborhood. And there's the giant golf ball itself that most of us are accustomed to seeing. That's our radar in Pilot Mountain, Virginia. The dome is 39 feet off the ground in height and 100 feet on the pedestal, so 139 feet in total from top to bottom. And inside we go, the most important piece of the radar antenna. What that does is it spins around in the giant golf ball or giant soccer ball, however you may see it, and it gives us basically fixed heights or elevations as it looks through the atmospheric profile. So it's looking for rain, snow, thunderstorms, and the like. It's 28 feet in diameter. As it spins around at those different heights, it gives us a different look at each slice, like looking at a layer cake and what is going on up there.
The Pentagon has a heat ray. It's invisible. It's silent. It's real. But it's not deadly. Officially, it's called the Active Denial System. Here's how the military says it works. It shoots an invisible beam of intense electromagnetic waves at human targets that penetrate the skin about 1/64 of an inch deep. The beam creates what the military calls an intolerable heating sensation that makes people instinctively move away from the beam. The heat ray can reach a little more than half a mile away. Its creators say it's harmless and offers troops a non-lethal alternative during threatening confrontations. The active denial system can be used for crowd control, securing a perimeter, and protecting a convoy. This technology has been around for a while, more than a decade, but it's been keeping a low profile. The Marines have used it in training exercises. In 2012, the military said the heat ray was available for operations worldwide, but there were no current plans for deployment. In the future, the heat ray may go portable. The Pentagon wants to develop a smaller, lighter version, easier for troops to carry. Wider use of unconventional ideas like the heat ray may lead to more new weapons that protect troops without hurting civilians.
I did something good today.
You don't always.
You want to know about my job?
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, the remotely piloted aircraft is not the future of war. It is the here and now.
Right. Good kill.
It was like an explosion going off everywhere, like a fire goddess, just like throwing fireballs all over the place.
Our first part of our investigation, Doppler down, Local 12's Dwayne Pullman exposed how a lightning strike caused the Doppler radar at the National Weather Service in Wilmington to stop working nearly 24 times this year.
And while the problem is now fixed, the radar still relies on technology that's 20 years old. Tonight, Local 12 meteorologist Scott Dimick asks whether it's time to invest in new technology that can track storms more accurately.
There's a lot of people in the Cincinnati, Dayton, Columbus area that are depending on us. I can't let those people down, and I don't believe in excuses.
After weeks of costly repairs and radar outages, it appears issues with the National Weather Service in Wilmington's radar have been resolved, but the outages raise questions about this aging technology.
The old radar has what would be like a large satellite dish up in this radome, and that satellite dish is spinning around 360 degrees many times a minute. It does one complete volume scan of the entire atmosphere every 4 to 6 minutes.
While the old system does warn us, there is a new and better way to track storms, a new technology the U.S. Navy developed, phased array radar.
Scott, it's amazing. There's no moving parts in this thing. Our other radar's dancing and moving all over the place. The phased array has no moving parts.
Here's how it works. A series of screens inside the dome send out signals at different frequencies and in different directions at the same time.
What takes this radar 4 to 6 minutes to do, that phased array can do in less than a minute.
It also has the ability to target specific storms or areas of potentially dangerous weather.
Let's say you're the severe thunderstorm. The electronics will just gear in on you and give me a continuous loop of how you're growing and changing with time. This will significantly have the potential to increase tornado lead times.
Phased array radar isn't just a storm tracking tool. It's a high-tech piece of equipment which can be used by several government agencies.
The FAA can use it to track their airplanes. They won't need their own radars. The military can do it to track the non-commercial flights.
It is a much better radar, but there's a problem. The government has no plans to deploy a phased array radar network anytime soon, and instead will upgrade the current network.
This upgrade is a major technology advancement. It's going to delete the obsolete technology of the signal processor.
This and other upgrades will mean the radar in Wilmington will be going down again in the next month and 3 other times in the next 5 years. Would you rather have your current radar with upgrades, or would you rather have a phased array?
There's no doubt I'd rather have the new technology that can help me protect life and properties and give me significant tornado lead times. But that choice is not mine.
While phased array radar will eventually come, the old radar, with upgrades, will remain the eye of the National Weather Service for at least the next 2 decades.
Congress has provided us with a great radar and a way to kind of get that thing even more modernized through the 2030s, and I certainly accept that. But the new technology is awfully enticing.
Fire unlocked everything we needed to create high civilization. The towers and spires of cities which reach towards the lofty clouds, the revelations of artistic vision, the innovations of science, even the shining bronze and plumed helmets of heroic warfare were created by our Promethean will to rise above our condition.
Rub your chest. Your arms will take care of themselves.
It is time for the mortals to pay. Release the Kraken!
Furious, the supreme god decided that Prometheus could not go unpunished, given his insolence. He imprisoned him on a rock in the Caucasus to endure eternal punishment for defying Zeus's decisions. But Prometheus's punishment wasn't simply life imprisonment. His torment would be terrible. Zeus decided that a dreadful bird would be responsible for devouring his liver, instigating immeasurable pain. Prometheus was an immortal titan. With that said, after being torn apart by the odious bird, his liver regenerated, just to be attacked again by the animal the next day.
I like your tattoo. Where'd you get it? Prison?
Yeah, actually.
What's it mean? The writing.
Oh, it's this guy's name in Greek.
What guy?
Just a guy, trying to get a rock up a hill.
Why?
They made him.
Who made him?
The gods.
And for a minute, I'm doing the show. Oh, you're not as dumb as you look.
Come over here. Hold me too.
Did I touch your lip? Did I touch your lip, really?